All right, how do we find work-life balance? Well, I want to push back on that question. There's no such thing as work-life balance. Work-life balance does not exist. Not a thing. Stop thinking in those categories. It's unbiblical, and I think it's potentially harmful for how you approach your life and your work, which are over-connected and interconnected and overlapping. So first of all, when God first creates the world, he creates it unformed, latent and full of potential, but unplowed. And there's a problem. It says that the bushes weren't growing up in the field. There wasn't much fruit coming from it because there was no man to work the ground, is what it says in Genesis 2. So then, God brings Adam into the garden and creates life. That actually the need for work existed before Adam even existed. And so the work came before the life. That God creates Adam's life for the purpose that he would participate in the unfolding and the making and the subduing of creation. That word subdue is like the word for kneading bread or plowing a field or squishing grapes. It's the creative force that takes what is good and makes it better, that takes possibility and turns it into reality. And so Adam's life, his whole life, the fruitful, the multiply, the rest, the enjoyment of relationship, the working of the ground, all of this was the work and his life go hand in hand. Even when he's resting, he's being productive in that he's doing what God called him to do. And he's doing it. You can't not work ever. Even if you're resting, you're participating. You're using energy. There's something going on. Sometimes what we mean when we say work-life balance is like we go, how do we balance our various callings? My calling as a husband, my calling as a dad, my calling as a church member, my calling as an employee, my calling as an entrepreneur. How do we weigh all of these things in tension? And I do think that requires tremendous wisdom and thought and prayer and insight because every situation is different, every season is different. But this idea that you're going to be balanced is just simply not true. Most of life is getting out of balance for a season and then rebalancing and then rebalancing. There will be seasons where you're working too much, but you should be. There will be seasons when you're working not enough, but you should be. There will be seasons where you're spending way too much time with your kids, but you should be. You're going to be in Disneyland, on vacation, up at night doing feedings, or you're going to be launching that program or getting that project through the finish line. And all of these responsibilities are always encroaching on each other bit by bit, chunk by chunk. And so rather than thinking about finding balance, we want to find the right seasons of emphasis. We want to make sure that over the course of our various seasons, that the various plates we're spinning get the things they need from us. And this isn't just our vote on by itself, but our colleagues, our wives, our parents, our children. These are all people who can help us speak into this naturally unbalanced flow of life. Because here's the other thing that's a problem. If you think my work is over here and my life is over here, is you start to think my life is me, my work is not me. And you start to maybe compromise on morals and ethics and the things that God calls us to that you know apply to you, but in work we can blur the lines, we can cut the corners, and it creates a situation where immorality at work may flourish. And so rather than thinking about work and life as an opposition to each other, we want to see all of the things we do as our working lives. Parenting is work. Cleaning the house is work. Being an employee is work. Playing with the kids at the park is work. Doing the dishes is work. Doing the taxes is work. All this is work. And work isn't bad. Work is actually a blessing. God blesses Adam and Eve and calls them to be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, and have dominion over it. That's work. That the ability to participate with the creative God in creating order out of chaos and creating something out of nothing and reorganizing and remixing all that exists, this work is a blessing. And it's part of why God put Adam in the garden in the first place. So any man whose goal in life is to not work misses the creation story. And so often male depression is linked with this feeling of powerlessness, this feeling of unproductivity, that what I do doesn't matter. And I think we have to redeem this idea that work is part of who I am, that my goal in life is not to escape productivity. You may have a goal in your life to escape employment. That's different. But escaping productivity is sloth and foolish, and you're going to spend your whole life pursuing something that once you get it will be meaningless, wasteful, and contrary to the design that God gave you.